How the rich secretly control your mind. The hidden secrets of wealth and power. Have you ever wondered why the children of wealthy families have a completely different mindset? They aren't just taught about finance or business. They also learn how to influence the thoughts of others, turning people into loyal allies who unknowingly work for them, make money for them, and follow their lead. Sounds like a form of invisible hypnosis? In reality, this is a technique that politicians, capitalists, and the elite have been using for centuries to manipulate the majority of the population. Even scammers and highly charismatic individuals apply this method to control others, without using force or money. If you've studied countless ways to get rich but are still stuck, you might be missing one crucial element: the art of influence. Types of power that control people. Money. With enough wealth, you can make anyone work for you. Violence. Under the threat of danger, if someone holds a gun to your head, you have no choice but to comply. Beauty. An attractive appearance can open doors that even money sometimes cannot. But what if you have no money, no power, and no striking appearance? The good news is that there is a fourth kind of power, a psychological force that can make the wealthy willingly hand over their money. The powerful support you, and even attractive individuals feel drawn to you, all without coercion or manipulation. Just like martial arts are divided into external strength and internal strength, the art of mind control also has two schools of thought. The Emperor's Strategy, a power-driven approach that taps into human instincts directly and forcefully. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, a more subtle technique that gently guides others' thoughts without them even realizing it. When I learned this method, it felt like an awakening. The things I once struggled to achieve suddenly became effortless. But remember, this tool is neither good nor bad. It all depends on how you use it. If you are ethical, you can use it to achieve financial freedom, build your career, and help others. But if your goal is to manipulate people for personal gain, then I strongly advise you not to learn it. If you truly want to shift your mindset, start now by connecting with me. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. I will share with you the secrets of financial success, smart investing, and breaking free from the endless cycle of life's struggles. Many people believe that Americans know how to enjoy life, but in reality, over 90% of Americans dislike their jobs. This means that the majority of humanity spends half of their lives doing things they hate just to make money and survive. This is not a coincidence. It is a deliberately designed system. Have you ever wondered why people so easily obey orders? Why does a soldier, despite having the ultimate weapon, still follow commands without question? When ordered to run, they simply ask, "How far?" When told to jump, they ask, "How high?" When given the command to shoot, they don't hesitate. They just ask, "At whom?" The truth is, this training method isn't limited to the military. It is applied across society, from schools to workplaces. You have been programmed to follow rules since childhood. Brainwashing isn't something mystical or fictional. It is extremely real, so much so that even animals can be conditioned in the same way. Take a look at a dolphin in a circus. It doesn't naturally know how to perform tricks or entertain an audience. It has been trained using a very simple method. At first, when the dolphin accidentally lifts its head above the water, the trainer blows a whistle and rewards it with a fish. After repeated occurrences, the dolphin realizes, if I lift my head, I get food. Once the behavior is established, the trainer stops rewarding the dolphin. Confused, the dolphin starts trying different actions to get food again. Eventually, it jumps a little higher than usual. Immediately, the whistle blows, and the reward is given. Finally, the dolphin learns the lesson. To get food, I must perform the exact action that humans want. Humans are no different. From a young age, you were conditioned with these rules. Study hard, go to college, get a job, have a good life. Work hard, get promoted, earn more money. Follow social norms, be respected. But then what? You graduate, yet struggle to find a job. You work tirelessly, yet your salary isn't enough to buy a home. You spend your whole life making money, only for most of it to flow into the hands of those who own the system. 95% of people are just living according to someone else's plan. You think making $100,000 a year is a high income? For those who control the system, that's what we make in a week, or even an hour. Why? Because we are no longer trapped in the programming designed for the masses. If you don't control your own mind, someone else will do it for you. Why do the poor stay poor? From a young age, many people are shaped by a mindset that even their parents don't realize they are instilling. This mindset is not a natural instinct, but rather the result of mistakes in upbringing, unintentionally creating a cycle of poverty that extends across generations. Take a closer look at how children are raised, and you'll see a clear distinction between a limited mindset and a growth mindset. One of the most common parenting methods is using rewards to motivate learning. Parents say, "If you score 90 points, I'll buy you a video game console." The first time, the child is excited, studies hard, and earns the reward. The second time, they keep working hard to get another prize. But by the third time, motivation starts to fade. Parents then feel the need to increase the value of the reward to keep their child engaged. At first, a small toy is enough to make a child happy. But over time, they begin to demand bigger rewards: a computer, a car, even a house. Eventually, when there are no greater incentives, they lose interest in learning because, in their minds, education is merely a transaction, not a way to acquire knowledge. What are the consequences of this approach? Children become dependent on their parents. They lack motivation for self-development. When their family can no longer support them, they easily fall into frustration and despair. Children raised with this mindset take family wealth for granted. When their parents pass away, they don't know how to create value. Instead, they focus solely on fighting over the inheritance. The result? The wealth their parents built is squandered. Siblings turn against each other in conflicts over assets. The entire family falls apart, and the fortune disappears in the blink of an eye. Many parents unknowingly spoil their children, creating harmful habits that can last a lifetime. When a child cries, parents often immediately pick them up and comfort them. If the crying continues, they offer candy or food to calm them down. What happens next? The child learns a simple rule: crying gets them attention and rewards. This system unintentionally teaches children that whenever they want something, all they have to do is cry louder. As babies, they cry to be held. As toddlers, they cry to get toys. As adults, they seek comfort and indulgence from others instead of taking responsibility for their own lives. This is not fate. It is the inevitable outcome of a flawed mindset that has been ingrained since childhood. How do wealthy families teach their children not to cry? One time, I went out with a friend from a wealthy family. That day, his sister's daughter was sitting in the back seat and suddenly burst into tears. Instinctively, I turned around and asked, "Is she hungry or does she need to use the restroom?" But his sister just smiled, shook her head, and signaled for me not to worry. What surprised me was that no one in the car reacted to the child's crying. At first, I thought they were being too cold. How could they ignore their child crying like that? But later, I realized they were using a very deliberate method to teach their child an important lesson. She explained, "No matter how long a child cries, there will always be a moment when they have to stop to catch their breath, just like how a basketball game always has a halftime break." Sure enough, when the little girl paused to breathe, her mother gently stroked her head and placed a piece of candy in her mouth for her to taste. Just as the child began to enjoy the sweetness, her mother immediately took the candy away. The girl started crying again, but this time, the family remained calm. Every time she cried to the point of pausing for breath, her mother repeated the same action, stroking her head, giving her a taste of candy, and then taking it away. After about 15 minutes, something incredible happened. The little girl completely stopped crying. The lesson? The child learned that only when she stopped crying would she receive the reward. In contrast, many parents do the exact opposite. When their child cries, they rush to offer candy or toys as a way to comfort them. This unintentionally teaches children that if they want something, all they have to do is cry loudly. In the end, instead of parents training their children, it is the children who end up training their parents to respond to their every demand. Wealthy families don't just teach their children to control their emotions. They also train themselves through activities like meditation, tea ceremonies, flower arranging, and playing the piano. But why? Because these activities help them develop patience, emotional control, and the ability to read and influence others. Have you ever wondered why a designer handbag can cost thousands of dollars, even though its production cost is low and its design isn't particularly special? How do luxury brands convince millions of people to spend a fortune just to own their products? It's not just business, it's the art of psychological manipulation. And just like how wealthy families raise their children, the key lesson is don't let emotions control you. Learn how to control the game. I still vividly remember the first time I encountered the concept of brainwashing. At that time, I was a university student taking a psychology course. My professor conducted a fascinating experiment. He gathered all the male students in the class for a secret meeting and gave us a simple task. Starting tomorrow, if any female student wears a red shirt to class, we must show special interest and enthusiasm. Smile, give compliments, and be extra friendly. But under no circumstances should we mention the red shirt. On the other hand, if someone was not wearing red, we were to treat them as usual. The purpose of this experiment was clear. If more and more female students started wearing red over time, it would prove that people can be subconsciously influenced without even realizing it. As an economics student, I found this experiment extremely intriguing. But what surprised me even more was that we immediately decided to test this same technique on our professor. We agreed on the following. Whenever the professor moved to the left side of the classroom, all students would appear highly engaged. We would take notes eagerly, nod in agreement, and even smile with interest. But when he moved to the right side of the room, the atmosphere would change completely. We would act bored, exhausted, and uninterested. Some students pretended to be sleepy, while others started whispering among themselves. This experiment continued for an entire month. And the results? Not only did more female students start wearing red, but even the professor unknowingly changed his teaching habits. One day, the professor stood in the middle of the classroom and announced, "This is how people can be psychologically influenced without realizing it. Many of our seemingly random behaviors are actually shaped by our environment." The entire class burst into laughter. At that moment, he was standing exactly on the left side of the podium, the spot we had been subtly influencing for the past month. He had been lecturing from that exact position for nearly an hour without moving to the right side. We then admitted to the professor that we had been applying this method on him as well. But he simply smiled and responded, "No, I stand here simply because I like standing here." That moment was a revelation for me. I suddenly realized that once a person has been mentally programmed, they will always believe that their decisions are entirely their own, made freely and without outside influence. Now, think about this. Why do luxury handbags from brands like Chanel or Dior create such intense desire? Do we truly love these items, or do we actually crave the recognition and admiration they bring us? High-end brands don't just sell products. They sell a symbol, a way to assert status and prestige. The truth is, these brainwashing techniques are not just found in psychology experiments. They are also masterfully used by brands to subtly manipulate our purchasing decisions, even when we believe we are completely in control. Due to time constraints, I'll wrap up here. I'm committed to sharing valuable, free insights on how to become wealthy, build a business, invest wisely, and achieve financial freedom. If you don't want to miss out on these important lessons, make sure to subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with those who need it. A heartfelt thank you to everyone who liked this video. I truly believe that if even one or two sentences from today's content can help shift your mindset and improve your life, then my mission has been accomplished. Wishing you all success on your journey to financial freedom and a prosperous future.